And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week. This week, the first of 3 special elections for Congress to be held this year took place right here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and State Representative Fred Keller took the seat previously held by Tom Marino in a landslide victory on Tuesday night. I want to say just a word about Fred Keller, if I might, because we here at Quantum Communications are very proud of the fact that Fred Keller has been a client of ours ever since he first ran for the state legislature. Fred has an amazing personal story. Raised in a house with no running water or electricity, he went directly from high school to work in a factory, rose to be the plant manager, and then went on to serve with great distinction in the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, and is now going to the greatest democratic institution in the history of the world. Fred Keller will be a great congressman. He'll make us all very proud, and we look forward to you watching what he does over the course of the next few years. Now, this race didn't get a lot of national attention because, frankly, the media glommed onto the fact that it really wasn't going to be that close. Keller took almost 70% of the vote. But some of the Trump critics were looking to see if there was any sign of slippage in the support for President Trump in a district where one of the first members of Congress to endorse him lived. And the president actually came in to campaign with Fred Keller on the eve of the special election. No slippage at all. In fact, Keller did better percentage-wise than Marino had done in the 2018 midterms. So keep your eye on Pennsylvania 12. Meanwhile, the Trump critics in Washington, D.C. are increasingly banging the drum for impeachment, putting their leader, Nancy Pelosi, between the dog and the proverbial fire hydrant. She's got to do this little rope-a-dope now, using language to placate the far left of her party that's pushing harder and harder for impeachment, while at the same time, behind the scenes, trying to rein things in, cause cooler heads to prevail, and keep the Democrats from walking into a gigantic political trap. How that all plays out is going to be very fascinating, but I do know this. If the Democrats decide to go ahead with impeachment, it is a big plus for the Trump administration, because not only will it ultimately not result in his removal from office, it will suck all of the air out of the halls of Congress, and the Democrats will be left in 2020 to run on a platform of, we didn't really get much done. I mean, think about it. What's the #1 accomplishment of the Democratic Congress to date? That is going to be an issue that Republicans will raise in 2020. And another issue I think that's percolating beneath the surface and may actually replace the media as the bogeyman for future discussions both culturally and politically is higher education. I mean, you've got these scandals now that we've all heard about with the admissions process, and you've got the SAT now saying we're going to go away from being just simply a objective scoring system and give all sorts of points for diversity and this and that and challenges in life, etc. And where does all that lead? Well, it leads to a situation where we've got college costs skyrocketing and the value of a diploma being increasingly called into question, given the fact that jobs are relatively scarce. A lot of kids are coming out with enormous debt and not a lot of job opportunities, at least that would match up with the debt that they have. Meanwhile, having been treated to a healthy dose of communism, socialism, and political crazyism every single day by some of the leaders in academia. Parents are beginning to ask a lot of questions, and I think that higher ed is going to be a significant issue in the days to come. Stay tuned. Finally, there is continued conversation about the tariffs and potential trade war, the market taking another sell-off this week. The China deal really needs to get done. It's good for both countries and will be to the political advantage of this administration. We're into Memorial Day weekend. For some, the unofficial start of summer. But for all of us, if we think about it, something much, much more than that. It's only been a national holiday for less than half a century, but the observation of Memorial Day goes way back. And if you're a historian like we are, a lot of questions about it. There was certainly an observance in 1863 in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and all Memorial Day routes tend to run through my home state of Pennsylvania, because on July 4th, 1864, a small town in central Pennsylvania, Boalsburg, had the first real observance of Memorial Day. They lay claim to the birthplace of Memorial Day. Now, there's a town in New York that says they got it, but the history doesn't work out so well. And Memorial Day parades, so much a part of our observance of this holiday, really began in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. There's a little town out in Wisconsin that claims to have held one a year earlier. Don't buy it. Doylestown's not only the first, it's the best. So as we look through this weekend and walk through it together and have all the niceties and picnics and parades and everything else, I hope that we'll take a moment to focus on what it's really all about and giving thanks to those who made the ultimate sacrifice in protecting and defending this great land. If you can find one of those little red poppies that used to be ubiquitous in virtually every community of America, please wear one. I know the American Legion Auxiliary still sells them, and in fact, Friday is National Poppy Day, but if you can find one on Monday, do it. Fly the flag at half staff until noon, and then raise it to full staff at noon. And at noontime, take a moment and say a silent prayer of thanks to those who did give that last full measure. Pray for them. I'll be at Indy, which is a true American adventure, the greatest race I could ever hope for, and a true way to observe Memorial Day. But wherever you are, please have a great Memorial Day weekend, because for now, that is the best 60-ish seconds of your week.